This one's called Fear is a Liar. So over the last 3 years, we've seen governments successfully influence the behaviour of people to get them to do the things that the government wants them to do. And there's two main ways in which you can move people in a direction that you want them moved in. The first one is bribing them. So I guess during DIVOC, furlough and working from home were bribes that were used to kind of move people's behaviour in a direction that was desired by the powers that shouldn't be. The other way of moving somebody's behaviour is through the use of fear. So if we think about the fear weapons that were used over the last 3 years, we had the deadly, we had fear of losing your job if you didn't have it, for some people. We had fear of losing out on skiing holidays. But then we had, I think, more significant fear factors that influenced, that moved people's behaviour. I think the first one was, of those in that category, was fear of being different or standing apart from other people. And for people like me, I found that amazing, really, that people could be that afraid of being different that they would choose that over the love of truth. I think another one that's come into play over the last year or so, because it's now fairly obvious what happened, there's still people who fear being proven wrong. Their ego is so big that if they publicly admit that they got it wrong, they're worried that their social standing might decline. And they're more worried about that than they are about the love of the truth. And, there's also the fear of having to apologise for getting it wrong, and also the loss of status that comes with that as well. Many people are afraid of things that don't even exist. And I'm not just referring to ghosts here. What I am talking about is the establishment's tendency to invent things that are designed to put you into a fear state. So I grew up in the 1980s, and a lot of people were afraid of nuclear war. And as it turned out, nothing ever happened. In more recent times, we're all supposed to be scared of man-made climate change. Global climate warming change. There's loads of other examples of how fear has been used in the past to manipulate our behaviour. So back in the early 80s, there was the scare that caused condom sales to soar, and many people got conned into the arms of the local drug lords, and things didn't go well for them from then on. Then we had, in more recent times, the China bioweapons, Wuhan. Do these things exist? I don't know, but it's certainly going to maybe lead to higher expenditure on the military and this type of research. Does it exist though? Not sure. Then something that I know was a complete hoax was, because we're nearly at the end of winter now, was we were told that there was going to be power cuts, and a lot of people lived in fear over that. That was energy harvesting. Then, we've also had sort of stuff that to be scared of eating healthy food. Healthy food is bad for you, and what we must do instead of eating things like butter, that's a natural product, is to go and buy things that come in plastic containers. And then the last one we've had very, very recently is aliens. They definitely exist, and we should be extremely scared of them. So what's happening here is that they're using fear to get you to do things with your consent. And this is really important to them, because they understand basically the forces of darkness. They're evil people, and they know that they're only allowed to test us. God will only allow that. For us to be harmed by them, we must consent to it. So by putting us into a fear state, they're able to convince us to do things that are not in our own best interests. I think they also use fear to distract and disorientate people, so that you can't see the wood for the trees. It's a bit like to a little child, when you want them to distract them from doing something you don't want them to do, you say, look over there. And fear does that to people. Rather than focusing on the things that matter, like, say, for example, how people end up giving half their lifetime income away in the form of debt interest. You convince them that the real threat is Islam. Or the establishment also uses fear as an energy harvesting system. They get off on it in simpler terms. You may have noticed this yourself when dealing with psychopaths. The thing that they love to see is you being in a state of fear. They seem to generate energy from it. They seem to get a boost from it. So this is what these people do. They feed off your energy, and in particular, energy that you're expending when you're in a state of fear. And the other thing as well is that whilst you're using your energy in fear, you could be using that energy on something a lot more purposeful. So fear is extremely useful to these scumbags. So what should we do about it? Well, I think the first thing to do is just ignore and laugh at their pathetic, empty threats that they love to kind of throw about, trying to get us to live in fear. Just laugh at it, reject it, make jokes about it. What I'm not saying is that you shouldn't look ahead. It's always wise to do that, but you should do your own analysis rather than just buying into their pre-packaged fear programs. So in the case of like what's been happening over the last sort of year or so with inflation, I didn't need the government's kind of fear-mongering on the cost of living crisis, but just saw all of that coming myself. I wasn't afraid of it. All I needed to do was just take action, because I think that's the other thing that they want you to do, is to become petrified, frozen, like the rabbit in the headlights. That's the wrong thing to do. Prepare for things, but that doesn't mean living in fear. Like, for example, I thought that there might be a chance that there could be some power cuts. I never thought it was like mega likely, because I think that they're afraid of what would have happened, particularly in places like Britain, if the plebs had their power cut off, because, they know that at least a third of us now are awake, and things could have got quite hairy for them. But, like for me, I ended up buying a little bit extra firewood. I was prepared for it. It didn't happen, but I still have the firewood that I can happily use in future years, and I bought it at a lot lower price than what it's selling for now. So, don't confuse preparing for things that you have analysed with your own brain versus their pre-packaged fear hoaxes. So I think the thing is to be joyous and to replace fear with more positive emotions like love. The world's not a bad place. Look at this view here. It's absolutely spectacular. There's much to be appreciated. These people, they don't control everything. There's plenty of lovely stuff going on that you can enjoy. And the other thing that I would say is don't allow fear to manipulate you, or don't allow greed, for that matter, to manipulate you. Happiness, I'm more and more convinced about this, isn't found in the material world. It's found in people and the natural world that God created. So a few Bible verses to finish off. So this is from Isaiah chapter 35 verse 4. Say to those with fearful hearts, be strong, do not fear. Your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. The next one is from John chapter 14 verse 27. This is Jesus talking. Peace I leave to you. My peace I give to you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. The next one's from Psalms chapter 34 verse 4. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from my fears. So yeah, if you're worried about something, talk to God about it. He'll normally sort you out. This is another one from Psalms, this time chapter 118, verse 6, and it says, "The Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me?" Now, I think this is very interesting. You know, they can, I don't know, they can affect me materially, but they can't affect me spiritually. That's what they want more than anything else. They want my soul, and they want your soul too. And the other thing is that we have to pick a side. There's no sitting on the fence in this battle. You're either with good, and that means being with God, or you're with evil. You're with this world that the devil governs with his materialism and his fear. So the last Bible quote is the most appropriate, I think. So it's from Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. This is Jesus talking, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell." And obviously that entity that can kill or destroy both soul and body and put you into hell is obviously God. Jill Bates and Rishi Sunak, you know, they can harm my body, they can deprive me of food, they can deprive me of electricity to heat my house, or they can do all sorts of things that affect me here in this material world. But the one thing that they can't do is get at my soul. And these people want my soul, but they're not going to have it. My soul belongs to Jesus Christ. I made that commitment quite a long time ago. And that's all that I want to say. And it's quite a nice, beautiful, well, it's not, it's still winter, but maybe this is the last month of winter, isn't it, in February? So God bless.